Why, hello. It is Monday night. It's the Play Callers Pod. As always, joining me, some beautiful, beautiful men, the most talented ones that I know. We have Coach Kirk Broussard. We have Coach Chris Williams. We are here to talk about some football. Are you guys ready?
Let's do it. I'm ready to go. Happy Monday.
Yes. Gotta love Monday. Oh, do we have our drinks?
I got one.
Oh, do you know what? I think I have one. Just hold on. Oh, you guys are doing the same beers tonight.
We are doing the same beer.
Him and I, we always do the same stuff. I don't even know why we got a show together because we agree on everything.
I wish I got the memo because I would have grabbed a beer.
Listen, before I knew Coach Williams, we knew a lot of the same people. Mm-hmm. And everyone used to always tell me that I reminded them of Coach Williams.
Oh, okay. Well, gentlemen, cheers. Yeah. While we still like each other at the beginning of the show, right? So I'm ready. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's talk about some football. Hey, and if you're watching and you have a comment, you would like to comment on something that we're talking about, or you may not agree with what we are saying. That's okay. We love it even more. Please comment in the comment section. It will pop up on our screen and we will be able to discuss it. I'm doing pretty good for my picks this week. 10-5. I've been holding around the 10-11 mark every week for the last 3 weeks.
That's a playoff. That's a playoff record.
Right? Not bad, considering that I took the Rams. And I got a lot of slack going against.
I'm sure you did.
That was a good pick. That was a good call, Tracy.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. My bold picks of the week seem to be paying off. So what have we learned this week? Well, we've learned that the Chiefs, they're stumbling. Steelers are stuck. Seahawks stink. And my Giants just can't finish the job.
No.
I'm still confident in the Seahawks. I think they're going to get it together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you guys think that? Okay, we'll start off with the Seahawks then right now. Let me just get their final here. I don't have their final on my paper. But yeah, what's going on? What do you guys think? Coaches, talk to me. What is going on with the Seahawks?
I'd like to Coach go first.
I mean, that was a lopsided loss yesterday to
30-17.
Yeah, it was lopsided. And you know, I like to think that, you know, at some point Russell Wilson will get hot. I think he's still figuring out some of the pieces around him. I think still figuring out how to make things work, but they got to get a running game going to help that happen for however that's going to work for them. But, you know, really was expecting more out of him coming out of the gate. I mean, I probably would have mentioned him as an MVP candidate coming preseason, but it just hasn't clicked so far. But we'll give it another week or two before we give up on it.
Yeah, I know we're still sitting only week 3. We are just heading into the first month. We had Peter Robertson that's saying NFC is a powerhouse, AFC stinks. Fine, Peter.
Peter might be right.
Kirk Broussard, sorry. What are your thoughts for Seattle?
I don't know. He has a couple new pieces at receiver. Mm-hmm. And then it seems like you know, Tyler Lockett kind of recently came back. He was hurt last year. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just taking him some time to kind of gel with those guys again. And, you know, then again, I really need to watch their games a little bit closer to see, have they completely fixed their O-line issues that they had last year? And then a lot of it's Pete Carroll. I mean, a lot of times in the NFL or coaching in general, your team is a reflection of you. And, you know, I just asked myself, does Pete Carroll still have that hunger? Is he still motivating them the way he should be motivating them? Mm-hmm. You know, is he going to be able to pull them out of this hole that they're starting to dig for themselves, you know, to get them back in playoff contention? So, you know, you can never count Russell Wilson out. There was something I heard recently. They asked Joe Montana what quarterback most reminds him of himself, and he selected Russell Wilson.
Oh.
You know, yeah, and I can see that. Russell's very patient like Joe was, and, you know, Russell even came out and said, you know, the reason I wear number 3 is because this is Joe Montana's number in college. And the reason I wore number 16 was because that was Joe Montana's number in the pros. So Russell's a guy you can't count out, man. I think he's top 3-4 quarterbacks in the league. And as long as you got that at the helm of your organization, you're always going to have a shot.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of games were really close again. Some who didn't show up last week decided to show up this week. One in particular. Well, look at the Dolphins game.
Yeah.
Where were they last week when I picked them? But again, everything is. They're so close. We talk about the Giants game. We had Eli Manning's jersey retirement that happened. If you watched all the games on Sunday, you were on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
I mean, so we have someone Tal's just saying, so what are we going to do about the G-Men coach?
The G-Man, that's your team, Tracy.
I know they're so close, but they can never finish the job.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I think that coach needs another year. He's going to have to show that he's trending in the right direction. But I think they need to give him another full year. They need to let him finish this year. They got to show that they're trending in the right direction, and you got to give him all of next year.
How much longer do I got to hold on for this? Like,
it just seems like even their first round pick, Kadarius Toney, overall they haven't gotten much production out of him yet. So you got to give them some time to see if they're going to be able to show that they can trend in the right direction. I just think the answer for them is at quarterback. They don't have the guy there at the trigger position. Coach and I talked about it earlier on in the season. We're not on the Daniel Jones bandwagon. I know I'm not.
I mean, not at all, Coach. I mean, he does so many things well, but it's still hard to figure out if he's good. I mean, like he's got a nice arm. He can make every throw. I mean, he's a smart kid. But all that wrapped up in one still doesn't give you confidence that guy can play. I mean, so it's just something off with him. I definitely think you're right about needing to get an upgrade at that position because I mean he's just not the guy, man. But if you saw him at a workout and you were taking him through the paces, you would think that kid could do it at that level.
You would think that, but as you know, you got to go back and turn on the tape to see if he can do those things consistently. Because you got quarterbacks that have came in the league like Blaine Gabbert and even Ryan Leaf. Those guys can make splash plays that make you go, wow. Jamarcus Russell could make splash plays that make you go, wow. If you watch Jamarcus Russell in shorts, you're going to go, wow.
Yeah.
But he has to show he can consistently produce that on tape, on the field, in the National Football League. And that's what you're not going to get from Daniel Jones. I'm sorry. It just doesn't seem to be in his DNA. Is he going to be a serviceable backup for 10 years if he gets with a good quarterback developer? That's very well possible because he has all the tools. But he has not shown, and there's very few quarterbacks, there's a small percentage of quarterbacks that can be consistently good. And the NFL is all about consistency. It's about being available and being consistent.
I agree, Coach. And even I'm saying Terry there, asking if we watched it. But again, it goes back to what I'm saying about this guy. I mean, there are things about him that make you think he can play. The guy throws for, damn near 300 yards yesterday, no touchdowns, right? So that it's always right to the edge with Daniel Jones of, we have to give him the credit for doing some things that he's really not stepping over the line to do. So, yeah, you watched him, you can say he didn't play horribly. He didn't cause them to lose. But just like I can't say he's good, I can't ever say that he really causes them to win either, right? So
exactly
something off with Daniel Jones, man. I mean, and I think
he lied to me. He made me think he was good.
Yeah,
he lied to me.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, typical male. What am I gonna do? Need a new quarterback. Okay, so moving along, we have so much to get to. One of them in particular. Let's talk about the Rams in Tampa Bay. The Bucks. Brady. What? Nobody was expecting this because when I went against the grain on this one, I saw the faces that you guys gave me. I have seen what people have put on social about me about like, come on. But wow. Are you really shocked at the end of the day that it was a 34-24 final?
I mean, I expected it. I mean, I expected Tampa to win. I expected it to be a more competitive game. I expected Brady to have a letdown at some point in the season. But the thing that separates Brady is his competitive edge. I mean, that guy's going to go back to Tampa. They're going to meet right away. Yeah. He's going to get in the film room, and he's going to get behind the guys. And that guy is just unique. He's rare. He's going to will his next week. You're going to see a different team. They're going to come out on fire, and it's like a hangover from the Super Bowl. I knew they were going to have a letdown at some point, but I'm confident they're going to bounce back strictly because he's the leader.
Yeah. You think?
Yeah.
I mean Coach Chris Williams, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm going to argue with Terry a little bit. Terry's chiming in here pretty good for us today, so I'm going to point Terry out here, and he's saying that we would not have said that Matthew Stafford would have been the MVP. Of course, we wouldn't have said that if he was playing in Detroit, right? But when Matthew Stafford was in Detroit, I think we all would have agreed that that's a really, really talented, elite level NFL quarterback that put him around talent, he would be successful, right? And I don't necessarily think that any of us, if we're being honest, are going to think that about Daniel Jones with the Giants. I mean, if we're not going to just put him into a Sean McVay offense and all of a sudden Daniel Jones is the best quarterback in the league. That's not going to happen. These are two different players, right? But the Rams, making the decision that they made, and whenever you see a coach get rid of a high-level guy like Jared Goff to go get another guy, then we got to believe in what that coach is doing and why he's doing it. He knew that Jared Goff wasn't the guy that could make things happen. And so I think at the end of the day, when you flip that around and you put this elite level guy in that offense, he's really smart. He's probably right there on the mental level with Sean McVay. So I think, you put those two guys together, you got a really good thing. I was not surprised that they were able to beat Tampa Bay. Now, that doesn't mean that I think they would beat Tampa Bay 10 out of 10 times. I think if they played 10 times right now, you'd probably see right down the middle, 5 games won, 5 games lost for both. But I do believe that, right now, LA is hot, and LA is in a pretty good spot right now. But Brady, just like Coach said, I still believe those guys will bounce back. And, to the why not, as football people, there's just something missing, and I'm not going to spend the whole show talking about Daniel Jones, but, the guy he's more in the category of Teddy Bridgewater and the kid at Carolina now. He's more in that second tier level of guys, and maybe even in the third tier level, Andy Dalton type of a talent. So, he's got some skill, and if they were loaded in New York, then I would say they probably could win with him, but they're not loaded in New York, and they need a guy that's elite, and he's not it, in my opinion. Thank you for interacting though, Terry.
Actually, he's got some more for you. If you can read that, Chris, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I see it. Why can't you explain DJ? I'm not saying that. No, it's not the problem. It's not the problem, Terry. And I'm gonna let Coach chime in on this too, but Terry, all I can tell you is that,
and I'm just gonna sit here and just listen to you guys.
We're just seeing we're leading Daniel Jones right to the water, right? We're taking him right to the edge, and he takes us right to the edge of thinking that there's something elite about him. But when it comes to really seeing that on the stat sheet, really seeing that in the down and distance situations, there's always something wrong on a third and long with it. Things just don't. Elite guys just don't go through the ups and downs that this guy does, and without writing a scouting report on it, I would just tell you if anybody thinks he's in the elite category, then I would call BS on that for sure.
I think what he's missing is, I think if you look back, say at a Matthew Stafford at the same developmental stage as a Daniel Jones, they have very similar physical tools. Big, strong arm, big, strong quarterback, can make splash plays to make it look like they're all world. The difference is at that stage, Matthew Stafford had a higher quarterback IQ than Daniel Jones has. Having a high quarterback IQ and being consistent. That's the only thing that separates those two quarterbacks. Will he ever develop that, and will he ever become that? That's something we can't read just while watching film. That's something it's really going to come down to how he's getting developed, who's the quarterback coach in that system, and how they're developing him. And if he's not, development can take you a long way. Like we mentioned, he has all the physical tools to make you want to draft him in the first round and him to be the savior. But I don't see consistency from him as well as his quarterback IQ. If you actually watch him play, he's not making a lot of the smart, quick decisions that he should be making to catapult himself into that elite conversation, or the conversation that's going to be worthy of being a pick that high, that we can look at a guy that's going to make several Pro Bowls and lead us into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to move this along to the next topic. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for talking Giants more than we've ever talked about the Giants here on the show. Really have enjoyed it. Let's talk about the Chiefs. They stumbled. Patrick Mahomes. What is going on? This is not the Mahomes we are used to seeing. Little bruised eagle, can't really bounce back, bounces back, gets a little scared. What are your feels about what had happened on Sunday?
I mean, you can't put it all on Patrick Mahomes. When you watch the game, the Chiefs defense could have did a better job than what they did. They could have gotten more stops. So I'm not going to put any of it on Patrick. I think Patrick is actually playing pretty solid for the most part. I just don't think they're being a complete team like we're used to seeing from Kansas City.
Yeah.
Touchdowns. He takes some chances sometimes, and chances, when you're a gunslinger like that, I mean, most of the time it works, but when it doesn't, it costs you ball games. So I think Patrick Mahomes took some chances in that game that cost him, and on the other side of that, Justin Herbert was on fire, and he gets out of there with a win.
Okay, well, let's talk about Justin right now because he was on my list. Some people are saying he is elite. He's the guy. He's the man. I feel like he's not quite there yet. It will take time. What are your thoughts, Coach Kirk Broussard? Let's talk about Justin.
I have to admit, I was wrong about him. Out of college, I was not a Justin Herbert fan. I thought he was picked too highly. I thought I thought he would be a bust. Well, I thought he could possibly be a solid quarterback, but there's no way I thought he could be elite. And I was vocal about that on several platforms, and I was wrong about it. He's shown a lot more than I expected. But
are you saying he's elite, or is he, like I said, he's going to get there? He will get there. He's not quite there, but are you saying he's there?
I'm not saying he's elite, but I'm saying for a second-year guy, he's showing signs that he can be elite.
Okay.
Because he's playing consistently. He consistently plays well. He's had 18 starts, and he's always consistently played well. And now that he's got a better system that fits him better. I'm not going to knock Anthony Lynn because I think Anthony Lynn should have kept his job. But I think the new system fits him a lot better. And I think he connects with this new coach. And I think there's no stopping him. I mean, in 2 to 3 years, he will be elite.
Okay. Well, 2 to 3 years. Coach Chris Williams.
Man, I can't argue with that. I think Coach is right on point with that. I mean, his development is definitely trending upward. I think so he's got some of that factor that will reach back one more time on Daniel Jones, that he's got some of that it factor that Daniel Jones doesn't have. I mean, he's got a little bit of that quarterback makes everybody better sort of thing in him. And I didn't see that out of him. I didn't see that as a prediction of him coming out of college either. But watching him as a pro, there's something special about him that he's got something that people are following. I think he's got a certain leadership that goes along with him, and he's got a level of no fear to where he really can play at a high level because he's not afraid to take some chances and do some things to help himself grow. So you can see he's got it, and I can only imagine what that's like in the locker room for that young kid. I mean, I can imagine that those guys, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, I bet you those guys are gravitating to him in that locker room even more than we might imagine too. So he's got it. He's got talent. He'll 3 years, like Coach said, he'll be there.
Okay. So do you think that Matt Nagy, he left the Bears, to leave the Bears, and also we're talking about Justin Fields. Do you feel like he left them unprepared? Some people are saying, no, I agree. When you talk about Justin Fields, it's growing pains. It's part of the whole process. But I don't think it's blaming one or the other. What are your thoughts? Matt Nagy, Justin Fields.
Well, I guess I'll go first on that. I don't think Matt Nagy left them unprepared. I mean, guy got Justin Fields got sacked 9 times, right? And so they've got offensive line issues too. I mean, this is a team thing. Coach always gets thrown under the bus. Maybe personnel is a little bit behind right now. The coach will always be the guy that gets thrown under the bus, but it has nothing to do with Matt Nagy is a smart offensive football coach. I mean, if anybody's going to be successful under Matt Nagy, it's going to be a quarterback, right? So you've got to have the pieces around him, protect him. I mean, right now he's in a position where one quarterback's hurt, another one gets sacked 9 times. He's in a tough spot. Matt Nagy is, but definitely not his fault.
I got to disagree with you on that, Coach, because if you watch that game, right, like you mentioned, he got sacked 9 times. Mm-hmm. If you go back and watch that game, they call max protection maybe twice. They call max protection twice. Mm-hmm. And I went back and watched all the plays. Mm-hmm. They max protect twice. In high school, you might make adjustments at the end of a quarter or at halftime. But in the NFL, you make adjustments after every series. So why wasn't he having a tight end chip the defensive end on the way out? Why was he keeping a running back in? Why was there no max protection call? Why do you allow your rookie quarterback to get destroyed like that? I mean, if you go back and watch the tape, Justin Fields had no time to make a decision to get rid of the football. And I'd hate to see the young kid get scarred this early in his career, but it just seems like, a lot of people are calling for Matt Nagy's job, but obviously I agree with you. Up until today, I thought he was a really good coach. But if you go back and watch that game plan is not really tailor-made for Justin Fields' strengths. That seemed like an Andy Dalton game plan. Just with the plays that were called, it seemed like nothing was to take advantage of Justin's his mobility. It seems like it was just straight from the pocket. The same things that you would put in an Andy Dalton game plan. So I think they dropped the ball as far as preparing him. I think they failed him drastically. So it's going to be interesting to see how it is going forward, because you got a lot of people in Chicago calling for his head. That was one of the worst called games I've ever seen.
I mean, Coach, when that train starts, and I like it when we have different viewpoints, but
I love it
when that train starts. When the fire the coach train starts, nobody's happy until the coach is fired, right?
Well, we got to blame someone.
Yeah, you got to blame somebody. But I'm just saying that a lot of times, like I say, when the ball gets rolling on that, it's hard to coach your way out of that until people get what they want. I mean, this kid was starting his first NFL game, right? Matt Nagy is an elite football coach at the NFL level, especially offensively.
Elite?
Yeah, he's elite. And I don't think it comes down to
what elite offense has he led? I'll wait to hear it.
I mean, I think he's an elite play caller. I think he understands the game. It doesn't matter. I mean, if that's the case, Matt LaFleur isn't elite. I think Matt LaFleur understands play calling, and things look a lot better when you're doing that with Aaron Rodgers. But I think with Matt Nagy, I don't believe, as an offensive play caller, I just don't believe, forgot max protection. I don't believe it's that. I don't believe it would be that simple that an offensive guy who spends 16 hours a day coaching and preparing to coach and call plays in an NFL football game is forgetting to run max protection. I think we're dealing with a quarterback who's playing his first NFL game. I think, nobody really understands what the kid can really do, at this level. So then he plays, and now you get a chance to see some of the things that he has problems with. Yes, he can make his reads faster, but what do you expect out of a guy who's starting his first NFL game? So the question was blaming, is it Matt Nagy's fault that
yes. Did he leave Justin unprepared for that game?
And I just don't think that's the case. I mean, I think, now I do agree with you, Coach, that maybe the game plan, we could have moved the pocket some more. We could have done. I agree with those sorts of things, but to totally say that it's his fault that this first game starting quarterback didn't have success, it's tough for me to put that on a coach. And if you're in the coaching business or been in it, like we have, Coach. I mean, it's just tough for me to put that on Matt Nagy at this point after the first game.
It's the growing pains process, right? They have to go through this to make them a stronger, play it better. I know that you're shaking your head. We have Ray that has just posted, what is the most essential piece that can bring wins to a quarterback who has talent but no support?
I mean, I don't think there's any such thing. I mean, I don't think there's any such thing. I mean, the guy has to have, some support. I mean, that goes all the way down to the youth football level. Right now, my son's playing quarterback on a team with no fast receivers, right? What can he do?
Mm-hmm.
The kid can make every throw, but if somebody can't get open, then it doesn't work. So yeah. I don't think that even exists. I think you got to have some pieces around a guy, and I just don't think there's any other way to make it happen without that.
Oh, okay. So we're going to move along right now. We're going to talk about the Saints beating the Patriots 28-13. I want you guys to break this down. New England, obviously an inexperienced quarterback. Some will say, I know they don't want to rehash the whole Tom Brady situation. What are your thoughts when it comes to the Saints beating the Patriots, Coach Kirk Broussard?
Well, Coach, did you watch that game? I only caught highlights of the Saints game, to be honest with you. Yeah, I just saw it. From what I could see, it seemed like they used Taysom Hill a little bit and maybe got him more in the game plan. And the Saints, they've always had, lately they've had a pretty talented defense. So they must have had a pretty good defensive performance as well. So it looked like Jameis got back on track as well. So that's what I expected. I think I picked the Saints in that game. But I'm sure you watched it, Coach. We don't get the Saints game in my area. And I didn't catch a lot of it.
Coach, I watched it on the Red Zone highlights too. I mean, we talked about it last week, the Saints, missing so many coaches the week before with COVID. And, for them to go, and beat New England was a really big win. But, it's going to be tough for New Orleans. Yes, they got Taysom Hill involved. Marquez Callaway finally stepped up and got himself, making some plays, right? Yeah. So defense definitely was a big part of why the Saints won. But I'm just so worried about the fact that they don't have anyone stepping up as an elite receiver. I mean, right now, Alvin Kamara is still your top receiver, right? So I mean, until we can get one of those, some consistency out of Deontay Harris or Marquez Callaway, somebody stepping up and filling that role of number one receiver. This is going to be an up and down thing. I mean, and it's not going to all be on Jameis, but we got to get some guys stepping up at receiver.
It's going to end up on Jameis.
Of course,
he's going to get the blame.
Yeah, he will.
Okay, we know that there's some big problems with the Steelers. I don't think you can just blame the quarterback. I think that the whole offensive line is a little bit shaky. It is the whole team. It's not just one. And we've talked about this multiple times when it comes to teams. It's not just the one person, but we happen to just always say it's the quarterback or the coach. So let's talk about the Steelers. Did you guys watch this game?
Yeah, I think it goes back to what we talked about last week. The Steelers brought this on themselves. They have not drafted or groomed a quarterback to replace Ben. Now, Ben's not performing up to expectations, and they're kicking themselves. And now they're probably going to try to bring in someone as a free agent. I mean, Ben looked defeated. If you watch his after game press conference, he looks defeated.
Yeah,
and he looked like he was close to retirement. Everybody can't play until they're 44 like Brady. Maybe Brady's on the right vitamins and has the right people around him to keep his body in tune. I don't know. I think Brady's taking better care of himself than Ben has, just from what I know of their personalities. But the Steelers are in trouble. It's this is not good. Hopefully they can find the right free agent to bring in, but they should have gotten some insurance behind Ben, and so I know they're kicking themselves for it.
Coach Chris Williams, Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious they're in trouble and they're struggling. I mean, we talked about it last week, with Ben and maybe not a good succession plan. The only thing that I hate about it is, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they're at a spot where they don't really have a QB succession plan in place. Ben is really starting to look his age, but I just hate the fact that at this point, all of the Mike Tomlin haters out there, and there are a lot. You know,
Yeah.
there are a lot, and people have been on this hate train since this guy had this job, and you know, I just hate the fact that now they really have something to, you know, to really talk about now. You know, I hate that for Coach Tomlin, and you know, but you know, people have been chomping at the bit, waiting for this to be going on with Pittsburgh. So this is going to get louder as it goes through the season. It's going to be rough for those guys, and I wouldn't want to be going in the
Still early though in the season.
Yeah, it's still early.
Right?
Not saying they can't turn it around, but if it continues this way, it's going to be so loud. It's going to be one of the loudest stories in the NFL, just because you know of the disdain that some people have, you know, for Mike Tomlin, and I hate that, but that's what I predict.
Brutal. I know I picked them a few times. Okay, so Stafford being perfect for McVay's offense. Some people would say this is the missing piece. He's awesome. We have Mark that just said Ben needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
I know he probably does, but I just feel bad. I know we're going to go back to that. I feel bad saying he has to go.
Yeah. I mean, they should have recognized this in preseason.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what I was
camp.
thinking.
They should have recognized the decline earlier and made provisions. But hey. Yeah, but I think Stafford is a great fit for McVay's. McVay has a wide open scheme, and Stafford's a gunslinger that takes chances and likes to sling it downfield, likes to get vertical with it. And I think it's a match made in heaven. This is a lot better fit than what golf provided with McVay. You know, McVay, it looks like he's taken a little bit from every coach that he's been under and taken a little bit of their offense and kind of comprised his own offense. So kudos to him, because when he first got the job, I thought it was way too soon. You know, I was like, who is Sean McVay? You know, I was one of those guys that was like, you know, looking at his resume, like, how did he become a head coach so fast? You know, but he's proven. I like what he did when he got the job. He surrounded his coaching staff with a lot of coaching veterans, a lot of old guys to kind of help guide the way. And but he's put that new school wide open offense that, you know, and Matthew Stafford is the perfect guy to lead the operation.
Chris, what are your thoughts?
You know, I'm impressed with Sean McVay, and you know how much, you know, the balls it takes to make that move. I mean, for him to be in that quarterback room with Jared Goff all those years, and to have the success that they've had together. I mean, even a Super Bowl appearance. I mean, it takes some balls to say, you know, hey, you know, I got to move on from this guy to take another step. I mean, so I've got a tremendous amount of respect for him to do that, and he knew what he needed for his offense. I mean, so when you're looking at a guy, you know, a lot of people make the decision of, you know, I like the guy, I don't want to hurt the guy's feelings, I don't want to ruffle feathers, and you know, but he made a move that he knew he needed to make. So, you know, hats off to him and Matthew Stafford. You know, like coaches said, talent-wise, he fits it perfectly. But just the fact that this guy made this move at the NFL level, you know, that's you know, like I said, take some balls to do what he did.
Yes, and we like that. We like that when that happens. That's the outcome. Okay, Green Bay and San Fran last night, 30-28. And I think we can all agree that this was a kicker weekend. Okay? But this game in particular, I did stay up. I was half asleep watching the last little bit. But Green Bay bringing the romance back to the game.
Did you see the last drive? I wrote you guys the throw that he made.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a 30-yard throw, and he had to throw it over a defender, and it dropped perfectly on his guy. He's probably the only person in the world that can make that throw.
It was bittersweet for me because I had picked San Fran in my straight up. So I was hoping, but then you have, you know what? Aaron is turning into my new Brady. Okay. It's like all of a sudden a wind machine comes on and his hair's blowing and he's like, yes. And I was like, crap. So yeah. I mean, well-deserved. They played, and I feel like that's kind of like the theme for the weekend. Not only did I say it was a kicker weekend, but there were teams that they actually showed up, and it was some close games. I mean, that was pretty good. What are your thoughts, Aaron Rodgers, week 3?
That was a fun game to watch last night. I mean, San Francisco brought their A game. John Lynch has done a tremendous job building that organization, and 49ers came out ready to play.
Yeah.
You know, they got a healthy Garoppolo. We hadn't had that too much, you know, up and down with him. So I think if he stays healthy, the 49ers can be a contender, a playoff team for sure. But Aaron came out, you know, firing, man. That guy has some skills.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told you guys, I think he's the best thrower of the football that we've had in the league, period. So, I mean, when it comes to being pinpoint and having a big arm and making the awkward throws, and he can run if he has to, you know, he's, you know, I think last week was a fluke, and I think he's strapped up and ready to play now.
Well, Ray's just saying if that's 49ers A game, that is not good. I thought they played pretty good.
I don't think it was their A game.
I think they could do better, but I still think that they played very well. They could have had it. They were it was close. Chris Williams, what are your thoughts?
Just quickly, I'll say that a lot of people here in Green Bay, they complain that they feel like Aaron Rodgers has been forcing the ball to Davante Adams. And I would imagine on that last drive last night, they were happy that he was throwing the ball to Davante Adams. So I think that works perfectly for Green Bay. I think, you know, Davante Adams is the best receiver in the league, I think right now, and Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback. Put those two guys together, you know, they should throw it to each other all the time, right? So I thought
DeAndre Hopkins is the best receiver in the league.
That's your opinion, Coach. I can respect that. I can respect that.
Are we not agreeing right now? Because I don't mind if you guys want to take a few minutes to discuss.
There's no doubt. I mean, there's nothing to discuss. Turn on the tape. DeAndre Hopkins has the best routes, the best hands, great size. I mean, he has it all. I don't know why they would ever trade DeAndre Hopkins. Houston is a shipwreck waiting to happen. But DeAndre Hopkins, best receiver in the league. Davante Adams is in my top 3, top 4 for sure.
If you think about, I mean,
there's not much separation. There's not much separation.
No, there's not much separation. But when you think about what Davante Adams, I mean, people get so skewed these days because they don't really give credit where credit's due. This guy performs without any help. Okay, the best thing that's going to take any two coverage off of him is Valdez Scantling, right? So I mean, it's like. Mm-hmm. There's nothing on the other side of this kid. Everybody knows where the offense is going through, and he performs every single week, you know, at a high level, even when there's no pressure to be taken off by anybody else. I mean, and to me, when you perform in those situations with no help and you stay consistent, then, you know, I would call you the best performer in the league. Now, maybe he's not the most talented guy. You know, maybe some other guys could perform in that offense too. But that guy has no help, and he is always making plays consistently every week for a few years now. And you got to just give him credit for what that is. So, to me, he's the best. He has the hardest job of a number 1 receiver in the league, in my opinion, and he performs every week.
Yep, Terry's saying Hopkins is the best. Okay, because I know we have a game tonight that's happening very soon. At the kickoff, I don't know, did it happen yet, or is it 8:30? I'm not sure. Early MVP predictions, something that we do talk about almost every week because it does change, but I'm still sticking with Josh Allen, and I feel like I'm going to have to add in Aaron Rodgers. And for me to say that,
I'm sticking with my week 1 prediction. I said it would be a defensive guy this year.
Yeah,
Myles Garrett. You see what he did? You see what he just did? Myles Garrett or Chase Young. One of them are gonna challenge the sack record and get the MVP.
Chris?
I go Murray, Stafford, and Brady. I think Kyler Murray's doing some special things.
Kyler was on my list as well.
Yeah, and I think Stafford, if it all continues the way it's been going, and I would imagine Brady gets back into the winning column too. So I'm going to go Murray, Stafford and Brady right now is my top.
Like, let's just like Brady should just, he's got enough.
They need to stop giving. They need to stop giving it to quarterbacks every year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Early Super Bowl favorites. Any predictions after week 3? I feel like myself, I'm thinking maybe Bills Rams. I'm not sure yet because we've talked about how a lot of teams, they do the peacocking the first couple weeks. They're bringing their Sunday best. They're showing off. And then all of a sudden, come like week 4, week 5, by week 6, they're not showing up anymore.
Chiefs Rams.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl's in LA. I'm going to it. Y'all are you guys going?
Yeah, I'll be there.
You got to go to this. We'll do a live show from the Super Bowl.
We'll be there.
You can
Okay.
make that happen.
It's on.
So the Rams make the Super Bowl in their hometown. Back-to-back years. The Tampa made it in their hometown. Now LA makes it in their hometown. That's never been done.
I'm enjoying the Rams
Could happen.
lately. Bills and Rams. Yeah. So that's, I don't know, let's just say, I won't say that I said that first, but I probably will bring it up a little bit later. But
Who you got, Coach?
If you guys are making me pick, I'm definitely gonna go with the Chiefs, and I'm gonna stick with my Tom Brady train that I'm like to ride on. So Buccaneers and Chiefs
A rematch, huh?
rematch.
Who wins that rematch?
But Brady brings home number 8.
You definitely an Alabama fan.
oh my gosh. Okay. Well, we're going to revisit this one again. Let's talk about college football. I need my updates. I did watch a little bit. I don't really have much of an input. Do you guys think that Florida will win a game? Florida State?
Florida State? Negative. Nah,
Some people are saying just have a little bit more patience and it will happen.
they might win 2 games. I mean, I look at the upcoming schedule. I see 2 wins on the upcoming schedule.
Okay.
I see a loss this weekend to Syracuse. They look bad. They look unorganized. They look poorly coached.
Well, so we're blaming the coach on this one?
Florida State looks poorly coached.
Okay. Like, we won't blame the players on this. Okay.
Have you been watching Florida State, Coach?
Only highlights, Coach. I mean, but
Okay.
I would imagine.
Okay. So here's what they got coming up. They got Syracuse this weekend. That's a loss. Yeah. They got UNC. That's a loss. They might beat UMass. They should beat UMass. That's a win. They're going to lose to Clemson. They're going to lose to NC State. They're probably going to lose to Miami. They're going to lose to Boston College, and they're definitely going to lose to Florida. They might be a one-win team. They might have one victory.
It's bad. It's bad at Florida State right now, Coach. I mean, but it's also bad at Miami too. It's really bad at Miami too. I think I think UMass and Miami will be the 2 wins that they can squeak out. BC, Florida, NC State, all those people, North Carolina, those people will roll them. But but only because UMass and Miami are on the schedule, and they've already lost to Jacksonville State. I don't think they would let that happen again. So I think we'll see them beat UMass. But Miami's struggling too, because that's going to be like the mud bowl at that point.
But I think as long as Miami has a healthy Derek King, they can beat Florida State. Well, maybe. I think if Manny Diaz gets cut in the middle of the season, I think they're going to get some type of remotivation with whoever is the interim head coach, and I think they could beat Florida State with a healthy Derek King. But you're right, both of those programs are in ruin. So that leads me to ask you, would you give Norvell another year? Where would you be in that process?
I definitely give Norvell another year. Absolutely. Okay. I don't think he's had a chance to really, get his thing going. But I think it's time for Manny Diaz to go, like you said. But I do think, you got to give this guy another year, man. And it's tough at Florida State right now. It's tough. Too many cooks in the kitchen right now at Florida State. I don't know. It's going to take a Nick Saban type of a personality to go in there and pull all that together. But, out of fairness, you got to give Norvell another year.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's going to be tough because when you go the rest of the season and you lose, boosters want to pull their donations.
Mhm.
That affects recruiting. That affects a lot of stuff. So their patients are running thin in Tallahassee. But in Miami, with Manny Diaz, if they were to let Manny Diaz go, who would you see them bringing in? Because a lot of people are saying Mario Cristobal because he's a Miami alum.
Mhm.
But a lot of people saying they can't afford Miami. They can't afford Mario Cristobal because he's going to come with a hefty price, and they got to pay Diaz to get him out the door. It's Miami doesn't have a lot of money.
Coach, nobody's breaking down the wall to go to Miami right now. You know what I mean? So Mario Cristobal would be a dream for them. And if Mario Cristobal is sitting in his office thinking about leaving Oregon to go to Miami right now, then I'd say Mario Cristobal is drinking some liquor, right? I think Miami's in a spot. They're gonna have to start this over with, some hot, smaller school type of a guy. Miami, Florida State and Miami are both in a tough position, and it's because of the freaking people around the program, Coach. The people around the program have destroyed the program. Same thing was going on in Texas. Same things going on at USC. There's just too many. If you don't have, that strong personality that can keep those people at bay, this is what happens when people's ideas, when people's thoughts, when people's money get tied into these programs. Fans and boosters can blame themselves for everything that's happening at all of these schools, and it just is what it is.
I think there's also a shortage of young coaching stars for them to select to give a shot to.
Could be right.
Who's a young coaching star that you would even call?
Mm-hmm.
If I were Miami, I would call Jeff Collins from Georgia Tech because he's doing some good things in Georgia Tech. I would give Jeff Collins a shot. So
yeah.
FSU.
Okay, we'll move this along to the next one because I know we need to wrap up fairly soon. Alabama and Ole Miss predictions. I'm going to say we're going towards Alabama because they're going to be more of the smashers, the ones that are going to get the job done.
Ole Miss should have put up a lot of points, Alabama's defense hasn't proven that they are like a traditional Alabama defense. They've been giving up. Well, they gave up, a decent amount to Florida. I think against Florida, it seemed like they had some communication issues in the defensive backfield, some blown coverages as well. So, I don't know. What do you think, Coach?
I think you got to pick Alabama. Florida is much better than Ole Miss, in my opinion. I think if that loss was going to happen, and this is also at home for Alabama too. So I think Ole Miss will go in and put in a good fight, but they've only beaten Louisville, Austin Peay, and Tulane. So I'm not quite sure that they're at the same level that Florida was at. So
a lot of people, a lot of people, they're drinking the Ole Miss Kool-Aid and they hadn't played anybody. Yeah,
they're drinking the Kool-Aid, and at the same time they drink the Kool-Aid, they're hoping Alabama can lose. So you're making this. Florida was the best SEC chance of taking down Bama, and that didn't happen. So I don't expect that to happen with Ole Miss.
Okay, Notre Dame and Cincinnati. Again, Notre Dame, another one that's going to come out there and just start smashing things and getting the job done.
Notre Dame is on fire. They're doing well. Notre Dame's a lot more physical than they used to be. He's made some adjustments on the offensive line because he knows in the playoffs he's going to come up against the Bamas and Clemson's, a physical brand of football. So Notre Dame looks a lot more physical. They're getting pretty good quarterback play as well. I think Brian Kelly does a tremendous job in recruiting. And Cincinnati, they're trending, but Notre Dame's just too much for them. But they're going to put up a fight. They're going to put up a fight. It's going to be a close game, but I would probably say in that game, 28-21 Notre Dame.
Okay, wow. Okay. Yeah. Coach Chris?
I won't drag on this one, but I'll say that Cincy is probably going to be the favorite. I was looking for a line today, and I didn't see a line out yet on this game, but I would say Cincy's probably going to be the favorite here. But I would pick Notre Dame to win the game.
Okay, so I guess we're all agreeing on that one, which is a very rare thing that we all three will agree on something. So who do you think should get the USC job? I wrote a name down, but I want to hear what you guys are saying.
Well, I hear Luke Fickell's is the name we're hearing, but I think the first choice would be Mario Cristobal. I mean, he's already taken all their players out of California anyway, up to Oregon. So, I mean, he's recruiting his ass off in California.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a number 3 ranked team in the Pac-12. He's the best coach in the Pac-12. Why wouldn't he be your first call? You have enough money to give him anything that he wants. He's going to have great fertile recruiting grounds right in his backyard. The only thing I can see coming in the way of that is Phil Knight. You know, Phil Knight sits down at the table with him and say, hey, look, I can match whatever they offer. Or, you know, and that's Oregon's tough. I mean, once Phil Knight got involved with their program, it took Oregon to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Coach Chris?
I agree with Coach. Luke Fickell is a name that they probably should take a serious look at. I also like, you know, for me, I mean, I like Eric Bieniemy. I think he brings an NFL piece. You know, that NFL piece always works well at USC. You know, their most successful guys, you know, had been through the NFL before they went there. I think this would be, if you're going to give Eric Bieniemy a really good chance at establishing himself as a head coach, I think this USC job would be perfect for him. And, you know, and I also think, you know, if you're going to go find a guy, again, nobody's breaking down the walls to go to USC right now. People in the coaching circle know what's going on behind closed doors. So this is going to have to be one of those, you know, go get a guy, maybe not the guy. You're not going to get an Urban Meyer. You're not going to get Cristobal. But I like Chris Peterson, too. I think Chris Peterson is out of football right now. I think Chris Peterson could go into USC and kind of clean up the ranks and get that thing back going again. So if it were me, I'd chase Bieniemy and I'd chase Chris Peterson like crazy. I don't think
Bieniemy would leave, because in college football is different now. You don't only have to recruit high school players, but you got to recruit the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. I mean, coaches were already overwhelmed with having to recruit, but now I got to recruit college players as well to get them to stay and to get guys in. Mm-hmm. It's like a whole new set of responsibilities. Mm-hmm. And am I going to get extra staff positions to help me with this? Am I getting a lot of extra staff positions, or what's the deal? So a lot of coaches are not happy with college football and the way it's going as far as the transfer portal.
Well, I did write a name down, just so you guys know.
What do you got?
We want to hear this.
Okay, and I don't know if you guys can see this. It might be backwards. Where is it?
Nick Saban.
Eric?
Bieniemy, does it say Bieniemy? There you go.
Yeah.
We're on the same page.
I did. Because I said he has an explosive offensive line. Like, he has explosive offensive tendencies. He is a powerhouse. So that was just my notes. Just wanted to put my 2 cents in.
Good call.
I don't think he would go there. When I started coaching football,
Chris is shocked right now.
I don't think I think he's going to wait for an NFL head job.
When I was one anytime soon.
When I got my first NFL job, I was Eric Bieniemy's intern for the Vikings. So we still text every now and then, and I think he wants an NFL head job.
Coach, I think if you think that USC could go get Mario Cristobal, then there's no reason why they can't go get Eric Bieniemy. I mean, money talks, Coach. I mean, if
money does talk, yeah. You know, but I don't think they would overpay for Eric Bieniemy. I think they would overpay for Mario Cristobal.
Okay, so we do have a game on right now. We have the Eagles. We have the Cowboys. It looks like, okay, so first off, before I tell you what's even going on there, if you guys aren't even paying attention, who do you have? I have the Eagles in my straight up. I have the Eagles in the spread, 3.5 points. Guys, who do you have?
Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? The Cowboy defense.
Just because they're taking the lead at this very moment doesn't mean they're going to take the game.
The Cowboys have some of the best defensive ends and the best linebackers in football. With Jalen Smith and Micah Parsons, That is the best young linebacker combination in the National Football League. So I think the Cowboys defense can get the W. I think they can rattle Jalen.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts and get the W.
Well, it could be another bold pick that I win tonight, and I have no problems accepting that win if the Eagles win. So,
yeah, sorry, you should have picked the Cowboys.
Oh, come on. I may be 11 right by the end of the night. You never know.
You're always right anyway. I'm probably going to be wrong. So.
Yeah, no, right.
I look forward to messaging you guys and telling you.
The NFL is hard to pick. It's a hard league to pick. Yeah.
It's very hard because they show up one week and they don't show up the next week. And then they totally screw you the week after that. And that is football. And like Aaron Rodgers says, or he did say last night, he's bringing the romance back to the game.
It's so much parity. There's so much parity in the NFL. Everybody has good players. It's like Urban Meyer said. He said before the last NFL game, he's like, it's like playing Alabama every week.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But yes. Okay. So guys, thank you very much. We have a game to get to watch. I know I'm very excited for tonight's game. Again, great night, great podcast, gentlemen. Thank you very much. And thanks for you, whoever was tuning in and all the comments and joining in our conversation. We really appreciate that. And we'll see you again next Monday.
Hey, everyone that's listening, don't forget to like and share the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like and share.
Hey, great show, guys. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good night.
See you guys later. Bye.
Good night.